You've probably asked your friends or a content creator at some point, should I pull for X character? Or should I pull for this character? Or should I pull for that character? It is not an easy question to answer. That's why I'm making this video right now, because it is an extremely loaded and difficult question to answer. There are so many things that go into if it is right for you to pull for something on your account that only you know. Not me, not your favorite content creator, AKA me, not some homies in a Discord server that you frequent all the time, okay? Only you are going to know all the weapons on your account, all the artifacts on your account, the good artifact sets, the bad artifact sets, all the great team comps you have, all the bad team comps you have, etc. Only you know these things. I can't know them, okay? And even if I did know everything there is to know about your account, I am not your Olympic personal trainer who is going to meal prep your resin spending and primo spending for the next 6 months for free, okay? But every man has a price. Jokes aside, an even bigger aspect of pulling for characters in Genshin is how much you like them, or how much fun you're going to have playing as them. Waifu over meta, baby. We've been saying it since day one. It is the truth. You should be spending your primos on characters that you're gonna have the most fun playing as, or the most fun looking at, or maybe you just love their personality and their lore, and you just have to have them. Those are the characters you should be spending your primos on. I, and every other person you ask this question for that matter, cannot possibly know what you value or like the most. I'm being so stern about this because giving somebody the responsibility and the power to decide how you spend your Primogems in Genshin is, in my opinion, a big deal. Primogems are this scarce and important resource that you've been micromanaging and saving probably for a really long time, and in some people's case, real life money. So because I care about you, and even though I don't know you, I would feel terrible knowing that you spent your Primogems on a character that didn't make you happy. That is why I have trouble answering this question on a quick little whim, because I don't know what character is going to make you the happiest. But what I do know is Genshin Impact. Yes, as a day one player, full-time creator, constant 36-star Abyss clearer, and usually with some dumb, really hard challenge that I attach to it to make it even more difficult for myself. And most importantly of all, I am a waifu over meta believer, okay? I know a lot there is to know about the competitive side of Genshin Impact, but I also know the importance of having fun, okay? I personally play Genshin Impact to just have fun and run around as cute and hot anime girls, okay? I know the importance and weight of having fun. But this is where the fun ends. Hey, you asked, should I pull for X or should I pull for Y? And there's no possible way you have enough brain rot to have asked me that question, assuming that I know all of those little things that are going on in your head that I just listed above, right? So if you asked, should I pull for Yelan? This is your fault. If you asked, you are completely disregarding and throwing away everything I just listed above. You only want one thing. And it's disgusting. You want to know how broken a character is? Well, here it is. The who should I pull for tier list, based solely off of how good a character is in the Genshin Impact competitive meta, or how big of an impact they will make on your account competitively. How cool they are, how hot they are, how chiseled their abs are, none of that matters here. All that matters is if these characters are worth your hard-earned Primogems. Some things to note, since this is a should you pull for them tier list, I will only be ranking limited 5-star characters. Pulling for 4 stars is stupid. It is completely degenerate. They are never guaranteed, and I never recommend pulling just for 4-star characters. They'll come home if they come home. And for characters like Jean, Diluc, Kaching, standard banner characters, you cannot make the active decision to spend your Primogems and receive them in return. So they will not be ranked until the end of the video for fun. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I hope your waifu comes home in your next temple. So homies, let me break down the tiers specifically for y'all. So at double S, game changers. I think these are the best of the best characters that permanently change how your account functions. They are going to enable like insane different comps. They're going to buff tons of different characters. They're going to work with tons of different characters. They are going to like fundamentally change how your account is able to be played. And I think that they are, because of that reason, some of the best characters in the entire game. Next up, I have amazing characters. These characters like are straight up fantastic characters. Okay, do not think that these characters are bad or poor or whatever in any way. They are like extremely, extremely good characters. I just think that they work on a little less team comps. A lot of them are going to be like main DPS characters where like lots of different characters can be a main DPS. Not that many characters can like support wide teams, for example. So the characters in the S tier are like amazing, super good characters. A tier, we've got great characters. These are like pretty darn similar to amazing characters. Really good. If you love this character, like get them, because like they're not like a troll pick. They are very good, very strong, work on a good amount of comps. They're just like similar to the S, in my opinion, of some of the best DPS characters, stuff like that, but they're just like a little bit weaker, I would say, the A tier. B tier is mid characters. I put them, you know, mid doesn't mean middle, okay? When someone says something's mid, they're saying it's not that good. I think that these characters are fine. You can 36 star the Abyss with any characters in the game. You build a team around them, you get good artifacts, you got a good weapon. This is an objective power compared to other characters tier list. I think the B tier characters are okay. They're fine. You can make them work, but they're not the best. And then at D, characters, these are some of the weakest 5 stars in the game. You can make them work, but I would never recommend pulling for them personally unless they're your favorite. If you're looking for a team comp, buff your account, make your account stronger, these characters are not really gonna come into play. Chat, I'm gonna let you guys pick the first character we start off of, but then I'm just gonna do it like randomly in no particular order. Let's go, chat. Give me the first character. Okay, Kylie is new to the chat. We'll start with Ganyu. One of the most OG main DPS characters. There was a day where Ganyu was a double S, and she is still extremely good. Game changer is a bit too strong of a title for me to put for Ganyu. She is absolutely fantastic. She is still one of the best DPS characters in the game. Freeze Ganyu does a ton of damage. Melt Ganyu does a ton of damage. That's one of the best like speedrun comps in the game for whales. Ganyu is really good, and I think something that makes her even better is she's got a lot of great like free to play weapons she can run. She can even be like a support character, which is awesome. Like you can have her as the main DPS, like, you know, shooting her huge charge shots, or you can just have her dropping like huge AoE cryo. I think people that say she's like outdated, overrated are just cringe and straight up wrong. Is she a game-breaking, game-changing character? No. Is she extremely good? Yes. Steven, stop trying to flex that you have more money than us. She's the throat goat at no cons, okay? Let's just go right down the list. Albedo. Now, I don't know, man. I've kind of got mixed feelings about Albedo. He's all right. He's okay. He's one of those characters that like, there's never really like a comp he has to be on. Like you can run full Geo and you can just throw other Geo characters on there. Albedo's like great to have on there, but he's not like completely necessary. He's good, but if someone was like, should I pull for Albedo? I wouldn't tell them to, because I think there's other characters that will make way higher impact on your account. He does lots of Geo ticks. One thing that's weird about him is that his scaling is pretty split. Like I think like his skill does defense damage, his burst does attack damage, it's something like that, which is lame. But, and then another thing, guys, his event weapon, because unfortunately, Hoyoverse has not been rerunning past events where there was an event weapon, and Albedo's best in slot weapon is not available to new players or even players that started playing like a year ago. It's really sucky. I hope they change it, but the fact that you can't even get that weapon makes him a little bit weaker. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Albedo's in the mid. I don't think he's like worst of the worst. I think he's fine. I think he's okay. That's where Albedo is, honestly, to me. Next up, wet sock girl herself, Tabibito-san Sayer, Ayaka. Straight up, I think 5 subs in the middle of the thing. Anyway, Ayaka is straight up amazing. Honestly, she's one of the best, if not the best, cryo DPS character in the game. The game-changing tier, we'll get to characters that fit that tier. I'm gonna give a good explanation as to why they truly do change kind of how the game plays. Ayaka is really, really good. Now, Ayaka's kind of only used on a few comps at C0. It's like, she can do melt stuff, but it's hard to keep the enemies like standing still or whatever. She's usually used on freeze comps, which she is the best freeze comp DPS in the game, straight up. I think Ayaka is extremely free to play friendly as well. You get the like Kageuchi Inazuma craftable weapon, and it works really, really well on her. Her teammates can be flexible: Barbara, Rosaria, Diona, Sucrose, all this kind of stuff. She can run really easy comps. She is fantastic. She is amazing. I definitely recommend you pick her up, especially if you like her. Next up is the 78th owner of the Wangxing Funeral Parlor herself, Hu Tao. I love Hu Tao. Everybody will know this who comes to the stream. She's one of my personal best DPS characters. When I can't beat the best, I'm like, all right, time to dust off the Hu Tao. She's an amazing character. I don't know why they haven't been rerunning her. I think it's just they wanted to wait for the Leeway event, yada yada. They never use her in the story. I think her voice actress must be like super expensive or something, and that's why they never put her in events and never rerun her. Aha, that's my conspiracy theory. I think she is probably the best Pyro DPS main character. I would say mostly for single target. The thing is like she doesn't have great AoE. Her burst does a lot. Don't get me wrong, but it's just that single hit, and then you can kind of hit multiple targets if you aim your charge attacks really well. By the way, Hu Tao is a charge attack based character. That's the way you're gonna get the highest DPS out of her. Her C1 even makes it so her charge attacks don't take energy when she's using her skill, which is an amazing con. But anyway, she does a ton of damage, and against all those annoying bosses in the Abyss, like the Perpetual Mechanical Array, the Wolf Lord, the Chicken, you know what I mean? Like these big single target bosses, Hu Tao shreds them, melts them, and she's really easy to make comps for. Throw a shield on her, and then throw Xingqiu, Yelan, any character that applies Hydro, she's gonna vape, she's gonna do a ton of damage. She's really, really good, and I think she's extremely fun to play as well. Hu Tao is a character I can definitely recommend you pull for. Next up is Mondstadt's strongest fighter. Is that her name? Something like that. The most adorable character in Genshin Impact. Let's keep it about Klee. Now, I love Klee. I have pulled for Klee. I have 36 starred the Abyss with Klee. But I must be objective here. I must not let my character bias cloud my judgment. I wouldn't recommend anybody pull for Klee unless they really like her. I unfortunately put Klee in the D tier, in the very characters. It's sad, but it's true. Playing her is very clunky. Her attacks don't feel very like fluid. You have to like cancel attacks, and like you can jump cancel, and like not in a fun to play way. Her AoE isn't very large, and it's not very long range. She's like a close range DPS character. Like she's a close range catalyst, so you want her to be ranged, but she has to be really close for her charge attacks to hit. And I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the Pyro characters in the game are better than her. I mean, literally like almost all of them, especially even Xiangling, who's a 4-star. I'm not putting her on this list, but Xiangling is like way better than Klee, and it's sad. Klee does a lot of damage, but she's hard to play. You can make her work. You can put in the time, the effort, learn how to do the cancels, build the great comp for her, and she will like destroy stuff. She does a lot of damage. It's just hard to like get that damage to hit and connect, and to not like fumble on your, you know, keyboard or controller and get locked in her like long animation. So unfortunately, Klee goes down here. I'm sorry, Klee. I will order these tiers at the end of the tier list once I put all the 5-star characters on there. Right now, it is not an ordered tier list. Next up, Childe Tartaglia, however you say it. I don't know how to say it. Okay, don't cancel me. Childe, straight up, is an amazing character. Like, he could borderline be in Game Changers. He is like the Hydro main DPS character. When you are using teams that speed run the game, when you see these whales speed running, a lot of them are just a Childe burst one shot. Now, you can't compare yourself to these whale stuffs. They have all these cons, Insane Bennett, Kazuha, stuff like that. But he is fantastic. He works on so many different comps. He is like the king of the international comp, where you've got like Childe, Bennett, Xiangling, and then, you know, Sucrose, Kazuha, something like that. Absolutely fantastic character. Does a ton of damage and is really, really fun to play. Feels great. Honestly, I can't really say that much about Childe. I don't personally play him that much. But I know his power. I know how good he is. And from what I have played of him, he is very fun. Really, really, really good character. Next up, we've got the Animo Archon, Venti. Cutest girl in Genshin Impact. Venti is an amazing character. Okay, this is another character who came out pretty early in the game where people try to say like he's outdated. He's been power crept by some other characters on this list. But what he does is really, really, really good. Huge crowd control. What that means is he has the ability to suck up, pull, move, control the enemies on the battlefield, smaller enemies, and some even big ones get, you know, slightly sucked by Venti. That is just such an insanely powerful mechanic that you can use on your team to beat a ton of floors of the Abyss. There are some floors that are extremely Venti weak, and he just destroys them. And he's Animo with Viridescent Venerer, one of the best artifact sets in the game, swirls whatever element you want, reduces damage, keeps them in line, and you can just destroy them while he's like giving them the big suck. So Venti is still fantastic. I think his damage kind of pales in comparison to some of the other Animo characters in the game, but it's still a lot, and he's still extremely versatile and a great support. Not to mention Venti gets the like out of combat, you know, exploring the world boost. So I mean, that is something that's fun and makes exploring easier. It's not like the highlight of this tier list, but it's something to think about when you pull for them. Next up is Xiao, and unfortunately I think we're finally changing up the pattern of everybody being in the amazing tier. I am putting Xiao in the great characters tier. Now, once again, this character is not bad. Xiao is very, very good. Okay, he does a lot of damage, but does he do as much damage as Ayaka and Hu Tao and Childe? No. Does he work on as many like flexible team comps as Hu Tao, Childe, and I would argue Ganyu? Ayaka's not super flexible, but no, I think Xiao's team comps are a little bit weird. I think his artifact sets are also a little bit weird, but all that to say, he does a lot of damage, and I think he's really fun to play. It's just Animo main DPS is a weird class in Genshin. The swirl reaction, the only elemental reaction you get from, you know, Animo, doesn't work with being a main DPS character because it scales off of elemental mastery and level. It doesn't scale off of crit damage, attack, anything like that. That's what you want on Xiao. So it just makes the reactions weird and different. But he is really good. He does a lot of damage. Take it from characters. Take it from streamers like Ziox, who I respect a lot. He just came out with a huge Xiao guide that's like 30 minutes long. You guys should go watch. He's like the best Xiao in the world. But you know, he's gonna speak his praises in that video, and you guys can see how good Xiao really is. He's just a little bit different, not as flexible, and doesn't pump out as much damage as easily as some of these other characters. Still a good character though. Next up is Zhongli, the Geo Archon. Yes, I think Zhongli is a fundamental game changer in Genshin. Now, this is one of those characters where people are like, he's old, he's been power crept. They're just, I don't know, they're like being jaded or wrong about how new characters are. Straight up, Zhongli, still to this day, even with corrosion, even with other mechanics, straight up trivializes like 80% of content in Genshin Impact. And that is like a fact, straight up. He has a massive shield, extremely easy to build, and extremely free to play friendly with weapons like Black Tassel. Just puts up the pillar, huge shields, and it increases the damage you do to the characters affected by the like little pulses of the shield anyway, stuff like that. He straight up trivializes so much of the game, and he enables so many comps where it's like, I want to use my Eula comp, but I can't let her get staggered, shield. I need to charge up my Ganyu charge attacks on my melt comp, huge shield. I need Ayaka to, you know, not get hit, shield. Having that massive shield on an element that doesn't mess with like other elemental reactions that much. Sometimes you can like steal an element off with crystallize. It doesn't happen that much. So versatile. It makes the game so much easier. You straight up, you get Zhongli and you feel the difficulty of the game, like jump off a cliff. Like he still completely changes the game. If you like him and if you want a shielder, I think you should absolutely pick him up. He straight up changes how your account functions. That's what I truly mean for the characters in the double S tier. they are going to unlock and change how your account plays. Zhongli is still fantastic. Next up is Mondstadt's ass, Eula. Been waiting for that intro. Eula is a great character. She is really good. She does a ton of damage, but the Eula emote in chat, spam it for the YouTube frog. It's there for a reason. She is a very particular character. She has a high skill cap. Her team comps are not very flexible. Her auto attacks do a lot of damage, don't get me wrong. But like everything leads up to getting as much damage from her burst as you possibly can. Some enemies jump away at the last second. Some enemies like are spread out and you can't hit them all at the same time. Eula is really good. She's not as good as the characters above her. Like straight up, she's particular, she's finicky. Players can make Eula pop off. You can get insane clickbait thumbnails with Eula. You can get the highlight reels you send your friends with Eula, but just like a out of the box, plug and play, throw on a comp and just start trying to like body stuff. She just doesn't do it as well. I don't think she's in the upper echelons of the game. And this is once again at C0, at C6, yeah, she breaks the game. This is a C0 tiers. Next up, the Naku weed smoker himself, Kazuha. Kazuha, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Absolute game changer. This character is the best pretty much character in the entire game, in and out of the game, okay? His skill makes exploration, getting up hills, chasing people, doing all the little events that we gotta run around and get all these primos and chase balloons and stuff, makes that even trivialized, okay? Dude, this character, really easy to do, placed, controlled crowd control of sucking characters up to right where he is. Slamming down, swirling whatever element you want, double swirling in some instances, his burst, increasing damage that you do with other certain elements that he swirls with, swirling with certain elements to get like a pyro proc going off, hydro proc going off. This character is unmatched in how much support he creates for the team comps he's on. He works on pretty much every single team comp pretty much in the entire game. You can even use him on like Eula comps where like he swirls and it doesn't work with physical DPS. He's fine because he's gonna like swirl that cryo, swirl that electro. He's gonna boost up the damage of the partners. He's absolutely fantastic. This character just does so many things, and you don't even know why. You're like, oh, I put elemental mastery on him and I clicked his skill and stuff. I don't really know what I'm doing. It just seems like everything's dying, and it's like, yeah, they are dying because he does that. He's just that broken. I think every account that wants to like beat content and wants to run a ton of different team comps should have Kazuha on it. Broken character. Mama Yoimiya, one of my favorite characters. I have her with 3 crowns on her head. Yes, 3 level 10 talents, including the burst. Don't ask why. Yoimiya is a great character. She's just a little bit more niche than some of these characters. She is even more single target focused than Hu Tao. Hu Tao, you know, she's got her burst that can do some AoE and she can charge attack through multiple enemies. Yoimiya doesn't have that luxury. Her normal attacks are just single target. They do a ton of damage. I think she's fun to play. I think the things that hold her back is how important it is to vape the proper attacks of her attack string. I think it's like 1, 4, and 7. And if you get interrupted in any way, you have to dash, you have to dodge an attack. You're not going to vape the proper hits to do the most DPS, which makes her weird, which means you pretty much need a shield with her. Her team comps aren't as flexible, but her DPS is very high. I think she's very fun, and she's freaking adorable, okay? Let's keep it a buck. Just a little bit more limited, and the DPS isn't as, you know, AoE as crazy as some of the other characters. Very great character though. If you love her, you will not regret getting her because her single target DPS, once again, against, you know, stuff like the chicken, stuff like the Wolf Lord, stuff like the mechanical array. These are just bosses that are in the abyss right now that are single target. She does fantastic against those, just maybe not against like large groups of small mobs, even with something like Venti or Kazuha. This might be the biggest like hot take of the whole video. In my opinion, most of you guys would immediately throw Raiden Shogun in double S. Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I put her in S. Once again, these aren't ordered until the end of the stream. She's really, really, really good. She's fantastic. Okay? But she doesn't like change the game. She does not like change how your account plays. Zhongli does more for all the team comps you can run, all the content and all of Genshin Impact than Raiden Shogun. Same with Kazuha, and same with the other characters that I'm gonna put on this tier list, okay? She's really, really, really good, okay? She gets energy for the team. She applies Electro off field while your main DPS is on the screen. Her burst does a lot of damage. It doesn't do like game breaking amounts of damage. Like it does if you do like some Bennett, Kazuha, Mona weird setup thing. And we're not talking about C2, which is one of the most broken cons in the game. She's extremely good. All these characters are amazing. You should probably pull them if you love them characters. I just don't think she breaks or changes the game. People are bringing up Hyper Bloom in the chat. Yes, she is extremely good for Hyper Bloom, but in my opinion, that is like one singular comp. The thing is, she's better than Fischl for that specific comp because Fischl doesn't always like hit the seeds with her attacks, yada, yada, yada. The thing is, like, Fischl can be substituted for Raiden Shogun in a lot of different scenarios. On Eula teams, on like international, I don't even know what these teams are called, all these national teams, but like Raiden National, like she's super good. I don't think she breaks or changes the game at C0. If I were to order her, she would be at the top. She would be very close to the top, if not the top of S tier. She's fantastic, but I don't think she completely changes the game. I'm sorry for the Raiden lovers out there. Okay, it's just the truth in my opinion. It's time for Kokomi. And this is, I'm not even kidding. This is not a biased take. I think Kokomi changes the game. I think she changes your account. She is the best healer in the game. She is like the best AoE hydro applicator in the game. Okay. Now, is she the best, like, applies hydro really fast, you know, for characters like Hu Tao, Yoimiya, stuff like that? No, those are better like Xingqiu, Yelan stuff. But dude, when you have a Kokomi on your account, she's very easy to build, very free to play friendly, and she enables, like, I can't even name all the comps that she enables. Bloom. She's like a must-have on Bloom, so you don't die to your own Blooms. She is practically a must-have on Freeze because she tick, 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 ticks Hydro. You burst, refresh the Hydro, tick, 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 while healing you all at the same time. Freeze, National. She genuinely changes all the comps you can play, and she's usually a buff to almost every comp that you want to play. She's gonna replace Barbara on every comp that you use Barbara on, okay? Stuff like that. She's gonna replace a lot of the Hydro characters you use. I'm sorry, I'm having a cough attack from this sickness, but Kokomi is one of the best characters you can have on your account, best healer in the game, best off-field Hydro applicator in the game, and can be used on pretty much every team comp in the game. She's utterly fantastic. Kokomi is based. Now, would I recommend you pull for Kokomi if you don't have like a lot of other main DPS characters on your team? Maybe not. Like maybe I'd prioritize one of these amazing DPS characters before you get Kokomi, right? Obviously, that's something nuanced, account to account. Kokomi's broken. Arataki numero uno Itto is a great character. Itto is like king of non-flexible team comps, okay? You pretty much want him on Mono Geo. You want him with Goro, Zhongli, maybe even Albedo, you know, or you could just throw on Noelle or Ningguang if you need another Geo or something. Geo Traveler. Maybe you can have that one-off character like Kokomi, for example. Itto does a ton of damage, and his AoE is like surprisingly good when he's, you know, doing his charge attacks and his burst. And Uchi has a pretty decent AoE. Not like anything crazy. I'd say like a little bit better than Hu Tao, potentially. Ton of damage and good AoE. But the thing is, he does geo damage, and that's it. And his team comps aren't super flexible. So like, I think this fits him really well. He doesn't change the game. He's not one of the ultimate best characters in the game, but he is extremely good. Ton of damage, just inflexible. I really like playing Itto. I think he's fun. And I think he's like a fun skill cap, you know, keeping track of your stacks, making sure you don't charge attack until you use your stacks. He's fun. He is a little bit more difficult to play than some of the most brain dead characters in the game. But really good character. I love Itto. He's going in the A tier. Next up is a character with a turbulent past here in my chat. Shenhe, Ice Mommy, one of the hottest characters in the game, if I'm gonna be completely honest. But I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys right now. I'm deciding between mid and literal D tier with Klee. Shenhe is extremely good on like one team comp in the entire game. Ayaka is the ultimate DPS raiser for Ayaka freeze teams. And that's it. Could I wholeheartedly recommend you pull for a character that only makes one team comp in the entire game better? Ayaka without Shenhe is fantastic. Ayaka with Shenhe is like even better, but it's not like Ayaka without Shenhe is like pretty average, dude. It's all right. But then when you get Shenhe, dude, oh my God, best comp in the game. That's just not how it is. It's just like a boost. It's a good boost, but Ayaka without Shenhe is great. Shenhe without Ayaka, no, not really. Like you can run things like Shenhe with some DPS Chongyun, or like you might even be thinking Ganyu, who I have in the A tier. Ganyu Shenhe doesn't work that well because of how long her quills last and how Ganyu wants to charge attack. And it's like, you know, charge up, wait, boom, boom, 2 hits. Wait, boom, boom, 2 hits. And you want to get like the 6 hits that you can't get all the hits out. If Ganyu's burst is up, it's going to steal the ticks of the quills, for example. And that sucks. I think that this is correct. If you don't have Ayaka, I do not recommend pulling for Shenhe. I really don't. I'm sorry. Yae Miko, the great furry debate of 20XX. I love Yae Miko as a character, like lore wise, and playing her, I don't like her. I don't recommend people pull for her. Let me take away me thinking she's clunky and not that fun to play. How strong is she? How much is she going to buff your account? How much damage is she going to do? She still stays in that tier to me. Yae Miko is very clunky. To get out her 3 little fox turrets, she has to sit on screen. Very easy to be interrupted, very easy to be hit. She has to dash, lag for a second, dash, lag for a second, dash, lag for a second. It's annoying and it's not fun to play. It's easily interruptible. Okay, then you got the turrets up. Great. Do they do a ton, boatload of damage? No. They do fine damage. Okay, they do like equivalent to Fischl damage. Okay, Fischl is 2. Fischl's really good. 4 stars aren't in this tier list, but just know that Fischl is really good. I don't think she's better than Fischl. And then unfortunately her burst like misses a lot. It targets weird things. Her turrets target weird things sometimes still to this day, unfortunately. That doesn't really happen in the Abyss, but just like playing around in other modes and it just feels weird. Her damage is not insane. Her gameplay is not that great. Her support ability is not amazing either. She's fine. She works on comp. She works on anything Electro, Hyper Bloom, Aggravate, but she's not one of the best characters in the game. Next up is Boba National Leader Ayato. Let me tell you why Ayato's so good. So he applies a ton of Hydro in a supportive way. Okay, great. He even boosts the normal attack damage of characters in his burst in a supportive way. So great, even more support, okay? And then he does a lot of Hydro damage as a DPS with the, you know, he does a ton of damage. He applies a lot of Hydro. He does a lot of support. He works on a ton of different team comps. Yoimiya, he works on National. I don't know, you could probably put him on some freeze comp, I'm sure, and just drop the burst to boost normal attack, stuff like that. He works with like every element in the game that interacts with Hydro, obviously. I think I feel confident putting him here. I'm gonna be honest, he's probably near the lower tier of this. I think he is better than Xiao. I think he's better than Eula. I think he's better than Yoimiya. So it only makes sense to put him there, or at the very least to be the top of A tier. He can be your main DPS. He can be your support. He can be your elemental driver. You know, get you a boy, a man who can do both. The Damus Mamus herself. This is really tough. And I'll give it to you guys straight. It's between SS and top of S. My tier for SS is very strict. It changes the game. Yelan is like a higher damage Xingqiu. She is a more mobile character for your team, running around the map fast. She even has a bit of crowd control. She works with Xiao. She works with Yoimiya. She works on, you could throw her on Freeze. You could throw her on any national team you want. She could be the Hydro driver. I think the thing that pushes her over the top, and it's something that people don't really notice, is her passive that raises the on-field character's damage for how long they've been on the field. So that can be her raising her own Hydro damage, but that could be your Yoimiya, right? You drop the Zhongli shield, you drop the Bennett burst, you drop the Yelan burst, and then you switch to Yoimiya. Yoimiya is going to be on the field for like, 8, 10, 12 seconds, whatever it is. She's going to be ramping up the damage from Yelan, vaping, doing a ton of damage, and Yelan is kind of behind the scenes, aiding in a lot of that DPS. I think she's weaker than those three, but I think that is enough to put her into the game changers tier. I will be honest, she's near the lower end, but she is really, 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 really good. Everyone, get your favorite Nilou emotes out in the chat. We got any Nilou emotes that you guys like to type in my chat here? Yeah, let's get some of those. This is another one of my hottest takes on this tier list. I have released a few YouTube shorts about this and TikToks. I think that Dendro has changed the game. I think it has trivialized a lot of content in the game because of how good some of these interactions are in the game, like Bloom, like Hyper Bloom. I think Nilou is broken. I think Nilou quite literally changes your account permanently. I think she's like straight up cracked. Now, this is obvious. Is she similar to Shenhe in the way that she only works on one comp? Yes, but Shenhe is like Ayaka or nothing. Nilou is all of Bloom. Everything Bloom. Any Dendro characters, any Hydro characters in the entire game. I don't like the game design choice of how Nilou works. That's not what we're here about. We're here of how does this change the game? When you get a Nilou on your account, your characters are dog water. Your artifacts, dog water. Your talents, dog water. You put Nilou on your comp, you go in there, you spam all your abilities, and these blooms are hitting for 15, 20, 30K. Boom, 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 boom. That's how I see it changes the game. It lets you beat content very easily. I think that she's not versatile on a ton of different comps like the other ones. I'm just saying, like, the comp that she enables requires extremely low investment. All you need is elemental mastery pieces. The artifact sets don't matter. The talents don't matter for a lot of the characters, but then you go in and you destroy the game. I know this is weird, but like, if you like Nilou, you're like, I like Nilou. I like using Bloom. She like completely buffs that an astronomical amount. And if you're like, I want to beat the Abyss, I'm having trouble beating the Abyss, my artifacts are bad, blah, 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 blah. If you get Nilou, it becomes that much easier to clear because of how broken the Bountiful Cores are. Straight up. It's a weird one. This is just how I feel. You can move Nilou down if you want to A or whatever, or S. I think she changes the game. I think she changes Bloom to an insane amount. Nilou is straight up broken. I feel kind of bad for Cyno. I'm going to be honest. Cyno is really cool. He is a similar character to a character that, you know, their burst, they go sicko mode and they do a bunch of damage, right? And on field. They have to be on field. Like Raiden Shogun, Xiao, for example, Arataki Itto. There's very obvious problems with his burst. His bursts last a really long time. And the problem is it lasts too long, okay? It's weird to say because, you know, you drop like, you want to use him on an aggravate. So you drop Nahida's skill. You drop Dendro main character. You drop Fischl or something, okay? And then you switch into Cyno and burst. The thing is, like, Oz is gonna wear off before his burst is done. Then Dendro main character's burst is gonna wear off before his burst is done. So like, then he's stuck there, not creating the reactions, and his burst time is still up. So you feel the need to like stay on, because if you switch off, you're gonna have to wait for that time. So it's like, you need to switch off of him early to get Oz back up, to get Dendro main character back up. I don't know Cyno comps extremely well, so I'm just making this up. But like, you have to come back in. You have to switch him out early. Maybe his burst like isn't even up yet. Again, his energy can be a bit awk. The burst mechanic and how he works is a little bit of an oversight. But like, I don't know, he does a lot of damage, and I think you can kind of fix it by playing a little bit differently. If someone was like, should I pull for this character? I wouldn't be as enthusiastic as these four. Yeah, I'm sorry, Cyno, but that's where I put you. Nahida, to me, this is an easy one. Nahida is one of the best characters in the entire game. Nahida is everything we hoped for when we heard about the Dendro Archon. We need the best Dendro applicator in the game. We need a character that applies a ton of Dendro and does a bunch of cool support. She does exactly that. She does a ton of damage. Her burst is cool support. She applies a lot of Dendro. She continuously ticks. She does a lot of damage. She enables all these really good Dendro comps in the entire game, straight up. Hyper Bloom, Aggravate. She is the go-to best Dendro character overall. You would choose her for every comp that you want. And Dendro is broken, okay? I think Dendro is one of the best reactions in the game. like I just said, Bloom with Nilou is cracked. Hyper Bloom is cracked. All that. Nahida, I think anybody who wants to do Dendro reactions, you practically need. You don't need, I don't think you need any character in the game, but you really want Nahida. She's amazing. She's fun. She's cute. She deserves to be protected. And she's just straight up broken. Like, that good. Nahida is a game changer, straight up. Our last character on the list, Wanderer. I think Wanderer goes in great characters. His out of map or whatever traversing is really, really good. Kazuha does that too, but then the in combat stuff, like, Wanderer pales in comparison to Kazuha, right? They're totally different. They do completely different things. But like I've said, there is this issue with on-field animo characters. And like, Wanderer is really good. He's just like not the best. He does these weird things where like if he gets hit in midair, he like lags, where he like falls down and then gets back up. So it's like, well, you gotta like dash around, which can sometimes take up your energy, which will lower your DPS by a ton, because then you're gonna like come to the ground. I think his burst is like fine, it's okay. He's great. It's just animo on-field DPSs are a little bit finicky, a little bit weird. And he's good, but he's not as good as the characters I have above him. That's just how I feel. People are asking about Alhaitham. Guys, this video is being recorded a few days after Alhaitham came out. I do not own him. I have not played him. I am not going to talk about Alhaitham because I don't have enough knowledge about how his character works. I will probably make another list just like this one in the future. Maybe I'll make one of these like every 6 months or something like that to update the new characters that come out. I'm not gonna lie to you guys and make up a BS answer for Alhaitham when I don't think I know enough about him. Now, real quick, I will order the characters in their tiers. I think this is my S tier. Sorry, SS tier, excuse me. Going into the S tier, I think the best one here is Raiden Shogun. She's really, really good. She works on a ton of different comps. She's a fantastic character, for real. I think that's where I'm at. Ayaka is the best cryo DPS character in the game, especially for freeze. Hu Tao is the best like single target pyro DPS character in the game, in my opinion, with a little bit of AoE. Power creeps Yoimiya in that way. Venti, fantastic animo character, straight up. Trivializes a lot of content that he's really good against. Ganyu, amazing cryo DPS. Ayato, amazing character overall in terms of his DPS and his support. Going down to great characters. This one's stumping me a little bit. I think it goes Yoimiya, Eula, Xiao, Wanderer, Itto. The main characters, I think it's Yae Miko, Cyno, Albedo, and then Shenhe's above Klee. Here's a little bonus for sticking around in this tier list for the time that you have. I'm gonna put on the standard banner characters where I think they belong. Can you pull for these characters? No. But do most of you guys have them? Yes. This is just a little fun end of the stream bonus for y'all who stayed through the video. So thank you. Diluc. Mid. I think Diluc is like right here. Okay. It's unfortunate. He was amazing when the game first came out. He still works. You can still beat a lot of content with him. He's just worse than all these other characters. Jean is great. I think Jean goes like right here. Jean, lots of heals. I don't like how her skill works. I hate that it like shoves enemies away. It's good against heavy enemies. At higher constellation, Jean is great, but like this is just C0. She heals, she applies animo, she's fine, she's good. There you go. Chi-Chi is, she's like here. Chi-Chi's fine. She heals a good amount. She applies cryo for, you know, comps that want it, such as with Eula or stuff like that. She doesn't apply like enough cryo. All she kind of does is heal. She's okay. I don't know, man. Chi-Chi's like not great. Chi-Chi's probably worse than Albedo. She's fine. She's okay though. I feel like Mona's a bit, I don't know, man. Mona for like clickbait damage is like S tier, but just in the like normal everyday Mona-ing, I think she's A tier. She's really good. She's great if you want the like clickbait thumbnail, but people just don't use her as much because she's not as universally good at applying hydro like Kokomi or boosting damage like Bennett and Kazuha and stuff. So I think I would put her, I'd probably put her right here above Jean. Tighnari, I don't have Tighnari, but from what I can gather, he's actually a pretty darn good DPS character. I'm honestly probably gonna, I'd put Tighnari like somewhere around here, like near the top of A. He's very one-dimensional. He comes in, he shoots his charge shots, he shoots his bursts. He's just like a Dendro DPS dealer. But I've seen him do some cracked stuff. And Dendro's just an amazing element, just like Car said in the chat. Like, I think he's about there. And Keqing, I think Keqing goes like right here. Keqing was once upon a time a pretty darn weak character. But if you guys look at this list, I think she's in like the top half of all the characters, okay? She's really good now with Dendro. She's pretty darn free to play friendly. She's got a lot of different weapon choices. Her team comps aren't too hard to play. Her burst is on a really long, really short cooldown, really low energy, good DPS. Like, Keqing is good now. I will admit it. She's pretty darn freaking good. Let's go, Keqing. Homies, this is the final list. There's Jean. She's right behind my camera. Okay, there in the A tier of who you should pull for in Genshin Impact. So when you've got that question, you want to go ask your favorite streamer, your favorite content creator, who should I pull for? This is what my answer would be, strictly based off the facts of how strong characters are and how much they will do for your account. Homies, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you very much for even clicking on my channel and watching this video. I appreciate that very much. Just subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm putting in a ton of work to drop a lot of fun YouTube shorts and videos all based on Genshin Impact. Shout outs to the patrons supporting over on Patreon. Zik, Poison Tongue Boy, Baked Tire, and everyone else supporting me on Patreon to create this content. I appreciate you guys very much. I hope this video helped, and I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you next time, guys. Peace.